So welcome to this webinar on the 10 major stages to create your own profitable and engaging online course. So I'm assuming that you guys have either already started thinking about getting your knowledge out to the world in the format of digital platforms, or this is just an idea, you haven't even begun to thought about it yet, and this is the first stage. Some of you might be somewhere in the middle. So I work with the type of people who have some kind of life experiences, knowledge, expertise, profession. Doesn't matter whether you have your own business, whether you're employed. Regardless, we all have stuff in our heads, whether it's experiences or general knowledge, that can be shared with the world in a profitable manner. There is somebody out there with the billions people have on planet Earth that haven't yet been through the experiences that you have got through and would really like the advice as to how you got through it, or need to learn how to do something that you already do completely naturally. So by turning that knowledge into a product, by literally taking it out of your head and either recording it in videos and creating an online course with it, or by putting it into the form of a book, whether that's an ebook or a print book. You could create workshops, for instance, that you go out and deliver face-to-face or online, or you could become an international speaker and get paid to go around the world at conferences speaking and sharing that knowledge, content and expertise with people that way. So there's lots of different ways that basically you can commercialize your knowledge and your expertise, and the format we're going to be talking about today is doing that via an online course. Now in the olden days this used to be quite challenging because online learning platforms were really crazy expensive. Now they're free. There's free and very cheap and affordable ones out there depending on how many fruits and functions and features and fancy stuff you need it to do. But look, basically speaking, if you've got one of these, a mobile phone, if you've got one of these, an up-to-date mobile phone, the camera on these phones now are good enough for you to be able to film perfectly adequate video. I'm doing this from the inbuilt webcam on my normal desktop computer, and that's actually how I now record a lot of my training videos that ultimately then go on out into the world and do so in exchange for money. So you probably already have all the equipment that you need, and in this particular webinar what I'm going to do is give you those 10 major stages of everything that you will need to go through to take it from at the moment being locked in your head to being something that is out there for sale, making you money and helping people at the same time. So what I hope you will have by the end of this webinar is a really good overview of exactly what's in store for you, and also there'll be lots of practical tips. So you haven't got pen and paper, make sure you do that now. So many of you who have been following me for a while will know that I kind of use the word edupreneur for people who profitably educate their market. That is people that turn their knowledge and expertise into something that makes you money and helps people at the same time. So it's all about focusing on income. You have to be financially focused if you're in business. If you don't, well, your business isn't going to last very long, but it's not necessarily about being greedy. It's about helping others in the process of doing that. So let's just get straight into it, shall we? Step one, the number one thing you're going to need to do when it comes to creating your own profitable online course is to first of all pick your topic. What is it that you're going to teach? So there are three key things I get people to think about here. And what I would like you to do is on your scrap of paper, basically now just create 3 columns. And in those 3 columns, you're going to head them with love, good at and experience. So in column 1, the most important thing before you create an online course is to pick a topic that is going to be something that you're going to enjoy literally consuming your life, because if you really want this course to make lots of money for you, if you want it to be very, very successful, you're going to need to be talking about it, promoting it, be sharing it with your audience for a long time, and you're going to get sick of it if it's a topic that you hate. So pretty sensibly, I want you to basically, in the first column of love, write down 100 things that you absolutely love, that you're passionate about, that you're interested in. Hi Sarah, we can hear your birdies, so you may want to turn your sound off.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. So I love birds, but might stop people hearing. So things that you love. Now, if you need to just get your brain going, just start off with really simple things, like I really love chocolate. I really love socializing. But first of all, just everything that comes to your head, complete and utter brain dump, and try and put 100 things that you love in that first column. The next thing you're going to do is type in 100 things that you are good at. So this can be anything. It can be something that you do for a job. It can be something that you just, it can be very informal. You know, you're good at listening to people, you're good at helping people with a particular task or topic, whatever it might be that comes to your head. It's just a complete brain dump at this stage, things that you're good at, people that tell you that you're good at. And finally, the third column is things that you have experience in. So this can come in a couple of forms. This could be, Raylene, could you just turn your microphone off on mute, please? If you, for instance, have been through a particular challenge in your life or some kind of crazy tough life experience. Life experience is a perfectly adequate thing to qualify you to share your knowledge with somebody else. So maybe you've been through a really, really hard time in your life. Whether you realize it or not, there would have been strategies that you used to get through that hard time. So there will be somebody else that is either about to go through that bad time that is similar or is currently going through it. And if they could get from you how you got through it, you could be dramatically changing their life and shortening their period of suffering by helping them move through it faster as somebody who has been through it and got through the other side yourself. So that's one thing you could be putting in that experience column, is all your challenges and sort of tribulations that you've got through in your life. Another part of experience could be the positive experiences that you've had. So where you've had wins or successes or had quite significant achievements. Now remember, something that's insignificant for you could be massively significant to somebody else. So don't demoralize or sort of turn down your own idea of what is a success, what is an achievement. Write down everything that you've achieved because again, behind that, there were probably strategies, methodologies, things that you did, even if you don't really particularly acknowledge of having done it consciously. When we go back later on into thinking about the strategies we used, those things could really, really help somebody else. So you'll basically, like I said, fill in those 3 columns. 100 things that you love, 100 things that you're good at, 100 things that you have experience in, and then go and mark every single one of them 10 out of 10. So where 1 is, I don't love it very much, I'm not very good at it, or I don't have a lot of experience. In terms of the experience column, also that can be work experience that you've had, it could be training and qualifications, things that you've studied, whether they're formal qualifications, accredited stuff, or whether it's self-learning that you've done too. It could be non-accredited online courses or workshops or seminars that you've been to. They all count as something you've got some kind of experience in. So number 10, if you're rating them, 10 is you absolutely love it, or you're really good at it, or you have loads of experience in it. And what you're going to do once you've done that is you're then going to start seeing a bit of a pattern. If you've got things that are 10 out of 10 out of 10, they're the things you're going to start narrowing down for your, perhaps your chosen topic. So that is step 1, very brief overview, but we're going through the fast overview stages at this point in time. And once you've done that, you're going to move to step number 2 of creating an online course. So now you've kind of probably got a few topic ideas. For some of you, you may have already had it and that process just affirmed that it was definitely the right one for you. Now you have to make sure that it's the right one for your market. There is no point creating something that you love if nobody else is going to love it, because you're going to put a lot of time and effort into something that might not sell. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a few things to check whether or not your idea has market demand, i.e. are there a bunch of people out there who are going to be willing to pay you for this, basically. I'm just going to say a disclaimer, I have a 3-year-old baby running around the house, so you can hear her in the background, I'm sorry about that. Mum life, hey, the life of a home working entrepreneur. Right, so what we're going to do is we want to be finding out whether people want to buy it, and there's a number of different strategies you can use. I'm only going to share a couple with you today because today's about giving you big picture stuff and just 1 or 2 things to go away and think about rather than just chucking a million things at you. I see I've got a question coming up here in the chat. I'm just going to open that. You have no reception. Okay, no problem, Raylene. There will be a recording of this, which we'll make sure we get to you later. So the next bit is one of the first things I want you to think about is if there are heaps and heaps and heaps of online courses already out there in the topic that you want to do your online course in, please do not freak out. I get a lot of people who say to me, I really want to do my online course in this, but everyone's already doing it, so I can't. If a lot of people are creating courses in your area of expertise, it means there's a lot of demand for it. So competition is actually a very good sign. If there are lots of people banging on about your topic area out there, it means it's a very, very active niche. So please do not be put off of your particular topic idea just because everyone else is doing it. Your signal you'll take from that is lots of people are interested in that topic. Therefore, how can you make your stuff better and different to everyone else's that's out there? So one good sign of market demand is there's loads of it out there. There's loads of people doing webinars about it, loads of people creating courses on it, loads of people writing books about it, and so on. If you're seeing it everywhere, good sign that it's going to be a strong market demand. Now, the next thing is, are people asking questions about it? So you've got your topic. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to join Facebook groups where, you know, my kind of audience might be hanging out. So for instance, if your target market are entrepreneurs or business owners, go into the Facebook platform, go into the search bar at the very top of the Facebook newsfeed area and type in entrepreneur or business, press search, then in the sub search area, click on groups. And it will show you all of the groups on Facebook that have the word entrepreneur or business in it or whatever you searched for. And then you can join those groups. And inside those groups, there will be hundreds, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people even in some of these Facebook groups. Don't go in and spam them all with your stuff. Hang around and join the conversation. See what questions people are asking. Now, one of the things I like to do to find out what questions people are asking in my field is inside those entrepreneur type groups, because they're the people who I really like to help the most, is inside each group there is actually a search bar just for the group contents itself. So when you go inside a Facebook group and you click on search, you can type in, so for me, for instance, I would type in online course, and it will bring up every single post inside that group that contains that search term in there. So I can then see all the questions that people have ever asked about online courses and either be really helpful on purpose there and then, or collect the questions into an Excel sheet so I can see what people are getting stuck with, what questions they have right now out there for real. And it's also just a really great way to start being able to share some of your expertise in a really helpful, non-spammy way. So are they asking questions about it? So looking in Facebook groups is the first place that I check. If there's lots of questions coming up when I use that search feature, great sign, you have a profitable course idea. Another place to look is like question forums. So one of those question forums is a website called Quora, Quora, Quora.com. Now that's basically a completely free platform where people go in and ask questions about anything. So go to Quora.com, in the search bar, type in your topic, your keyword for your topic, and it will bring up all the questions people are asking in that topic. And that will show you so many questions they're asking. If there's loads of questions coming up for your particular course idea, winner, winner, chicken dinner, you have a profitable course idea. More places I like to look, the good old Google search bar is another one. So, you know, when you go to Google and you've got the blank Google page there and you go to type something in, go and type in how to and then your topic idea, or just type in your topic idea. And what will happen is Google starts to autofill the rest of the sentence for you. Now, when Google does that, what it's actually doing is pre-filling the most common things that people are for real typing into Google. It's quite amazing. So if it's coming up as a Google search box suggestion, it means people are asking it. So if the question that pops up is relevant to your online course, again, that's a really good sign that you have a profitable online course idea. The next and final way I like to check whether people are asking asking questions about your topic is one of my favourite websites still for doing research. It's a completely free website, and I hope you've got a pen and paper. It is called answerthepublic.com. Answerthepublic.com. Now, this website basically is like this massive data gathering site where it collects all of the questions that are being typed into Google. Right, it's amazing. In fact, I'll see if I can just bring it up right now for you and show you just how sexy this stuff is. And it's probably not going to let me do it because I'm doing a screen share here. Okay, it's not. No worries. So answerthepublic.com, it has a big search box. So you type in your topic. So for me, I would type in online courses, for instance. Press search and it will literally bring up for you an entire list of every single question that people have typed into Google with the term online course in it. And they break it down by what, wow, how, when, where, who, and then whatever they've been asking. And this is seriously how I have been able to generate over 300, 400, 500 ideas for things to do videos on, things to write blog articles on, chapters to write in my books, and importantly for this lesson, stuff to teach in my online course. More often than not, you can look at the results from that answerthepublic.com Google searches, and there's enough in there for you to just pull out all the questions you know how to answer, and badang, there's your online course. Bajang, I just totally made that word up. Don't know where that came from. So that is a really, really cool tip, cool hack for you for checking that you have market demand, because people are asking questions about it, which means they want answers, which means they're going to be willing to pay you for the answers. And it also gives you lots and lots of content ideas for when you move to one of the next stages. Are they talking about it? Well, of course, if you've checked all of those methods, then it's clearly a goer. And are customers, for instance, coming to you, or are friends coming to you asking you advice about it? If you've been asked a couple of questions more than once, if people are asking for your help more than once, here's the coffee question. Hey, I just wondered if I could take you for a coffee to pick your brain about X. Then you clearly have people who are interested in hearing what you have to say about something. If someone's asked to take you for a coffee to pick your brain, then why not dump your brain into an online course and say, I'm actually not free on Thursday, but you can pay $20 and have the whole course here. It's going to save you a lot of time and help a lot of people. I'm not saying don't go for coffees with people, but the amount of people that were asking me, I would never have had time to work. So creating online courses has given me a lot of my life back, and certainly less caffeine in my stomach. And the final checking mark is it a trending topic? Now, this is really important because you don't want to create something that actually has a downward trend. And there is another, of course, free tool that you can use to check whether your topic is trending on planet Earth. I love the free tools, can you tell? So I'd like you to go to Google Trends, googletrends.com. Just go to Google and type in Google Trends and it will give you the link. So Google Trends is, it comes up with this sexy little graph by Google. It's a page by Google that's free. You type in your topic. So I go to Google Trends. It says search any topic. I would type in online courses for me and press search, and it brings up this sexy little graph. Now the graph will either go straight or up or down or a little bit all over the place. Now what the graph is showing you is whether people searching for that topic on Google is increasing in search volume or decreasing in search volume. So are less people searching for that thing, or are more people searching for it? So of course, if your topic is going down and is trending downwards over time, whack, whack, back to the drawing board. Do not pick that topic. It means you are going to create a course that ultimately less and less and less people are interested in learning about. If it's going up, oh yeah, you are definitely going to want to create a course in that topic, because it means more and more and more and more search terms are being searched for in that field, and that means it's an absolute goer. Also, if generally speaking the trend is kind of flat and it stays very even, and it's stayed very even over a long period of time, ding, also a great course idea. So things, for instance, like I don't know, leadership, topics on leadership, happiness, love, wealth, business, all kinds of things like that generally stay very, very steady over time, because people always want those kinds of knowledge bases or information bases. So anything flat or going upwards in the Google Trends area is a cha-ching, ding, past check stage number 2. It's a goer. So let's move on to stage 3 of creating an online course. And now you know what your topic is going to be. You've checked that it's going to have market demand. So now you need to start getting yourself really clear about what you're going to teach people and what they're going to get from the course. So this is what I call creating your magnetic and compelling learning outcomes. So it's going to sound a bit teachery, right? Before I get all teacher classroomy on you. This basically is, what are you going to teach them? What are they going to get at the end of it? And making sure that you can then absolutely describe that in one of the most clearest possible ways. So I always get you to think of 3 things first. I want you to write down 3 things. When your online course students do your course and complete your course, what will they have at the end of it? So 3 things. What will they be able to do at the end of your course? What will they know by the end of your course? And how will they feel at the end of your course? So doing is practical skills. Will there be some kind of practical skill that they would be able to physically do and demonstrate? So if your course was on some kind of cooking thing, you know, they will be able to make a bacon sandwich. By the end of the course, they will be able to set up and run a Facebook ad. By the end of this course, they will be able to, make a dress, whatever it might be. So it's a practical skill. So list down all the things they will be able to physically do. The next one is knowledge. So what will they know by the end of the course? Will they have some kind of concept that they will have grasped? Will they know the 3 steps to achieving something? Will they understand the theory behind a particular thing? Write down everything that they could possibly know by the end of the course. And finally, how will they feel? This is all about their attitudes and their behaviors and their emotions. So will they feel more confident about something, less fearful of something, less confused about something, excited and motivated and inspired about something? Will they be persuaded about something? So feelings and emotions, attitudes, perspectives, this is where the feelings come from. So I want you to write down all of those things that they will know, do and feel by the end of your course. And once you've first brain dumped that, the second part B to this step 3 is to then write those down in a way that would be called, in curriculum design terms, a proper learning outcome. And so a proper learning outcome basically starts, can you hear my baby banging on the window? That's hilarious. It basically starts with a really clear describing word. So this, if you really want to get technical, it's something called Bloom's taxonomy. I do have a cheat sheet on how to create learning outcomes, which is in my advanced online course. But basically this is how it goes. You're going to start with a word like, let's pretend your doing skill is how to make a bacon sandwich. That's what your course is about. So doing will be, by the end of this course, the learner will be able to, ... First bullet point is demonstrate the process of creating an online course. So you want to be using words like, will they be able to, you don't want to use understand. The word understand is banned because it's vague. It's not clear what it is that they will have at the end. My definition of understanding might be different from yours. However, if you say to me, by the end of the course, I will be able to list the 3 stages to something. So list, describe, trying to think. I've gone blank in my mind because all I can see is Ria running around outside my window there. List, describe, you get the picture. It can't be understand, that word is banned. And when you have finished writing down all of your bullet point lists, what will happen is you will now know exactly what you are teaching, and therefore what information you now need to go and collect to put inside your course. You will now know what you have to teach. So it helps you with the data collection stage, because for a lot of people this is the stage where they just have so much information they don't know what to keep in. But what it also does for your learners is when they read what your course is about and they're deciding whether to buy from it or buy from you or not, they have a really, really clear view as to exactly what they're going to get out of it. It helps sell the course. When people know what they're getting, they're more confident about buying. It also makes sure that when there's no vagueness, i.e. you will understand something, in my head, I thought understand meant I will get all of this, right? You meant actually I'd only get this. It basically reduces the number of refund requests that you'll get because people know exactly what they're getting. It's almost impossible for them to go, oh, I thought I was getting something different. So this learning outcome is really important both for proper curriculum design processes, but also for you to know what you're teaching and for the learner to know what they're getting. So that is a very quick overview of step 3. And before I move on to step 4, are there any questions at all? Please use the chat function if you would like to ask any questions. Chloe's saying I love her. Mum life with the little babies running around, babies and doggies. That's what happens when you do a webinar after daycare pickup time. All right, so step number, oh, have I missed one? Step number 4 for creating your online course is to now start getting some of your content together. You've picked your topic, you've checked the market demand, you've defined exactly what it is that you're going to teach. Now you need to start gathering that content together. This is the stage when most course creators actually stop doing what it is that they intended to do, because now they go, oh my God, it's research time. And when you say that word to yourself in your head, it seems really, really big. And what happens is you normally I'm looking at the bookshelf next to me. I've got hundreds of books next to me, and they kind of go, oh my gosh, now I have to go through all these books, and there's post-it notes everywhere, and there's piles of research papers, and they pull up old training documents, and it just turns into something that feels completely insurmountable and a huge, huge task. So I have come up with a couple of really simple tips, and you're going to go, is that it, Sarah? To just help you start this process and start getting a plan together for your course. So I always say to people, when you come to creating a course, you're creating information-based content. Think in the form of tips. Quite simply, a simple tip. So your people are coming to your course because they want to know how to do something, or they want to know the knowledge behind something, or they want to change their feelings about something. So your course, the whole purpose of it is to get them there in the form of providing information and guidance. So tip, 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 tip. I like you to think that every little lesson in your online course is going to be one short video, and online learners like things to be quick, sharp, short, straight to the point. Each online video is only going to be between 2 and 9 minutes. Why? Because research data tells us that's the longest that online learners will now watch videos for until the end. If they don't watch a video to the end, they don't get all of the content, which means they don't get everything out of your course, which means, you know, they're not going to go running around saying, oh my gosh, this person's course was the best thing that I ever did. If your videos are short, sharp, sweet, straight to the point, they're more likely to finish them, which means they're more likely to get everything out of it, which means they're more likely to get amazing results, which means they're more likely to tell the whole wide world to come and take your course too. Yay, which is what you want. So think in the form of tips. So you are going to grab yourself, and I haven't got any in front of me, yes I have, grab yourself, if you're anything like me and just love a trip to the stationery shop, I'm about to give you permission to go and spend all your savings at the Officeworks store near you. Go and grab yourself heaps and heaps of post-it notes. And first of all, I just want you to brain dump on your topic. Just brain dump everything that could possibly come out of your head. And you're going to write one tip that you could give the world on your topic on one post-it note. So one tip, one post-it note is all you're going to do. And I just want you to stick them all over a window or all over a wall in your house or your office, just to start getting those tips out of your head. Now, once you feel like you've completely and utterly exhausted your brain capacity, and the pregnant person that I am, it's about 30 seconds worth, you are going to then do a couple of things to just jog your knowledge bank. Most of us have a lot more knowledge in our heads that have been archived than we can immediately retrieve and recall. So we're going to do a couple of things now just to recall your knowledge base. Now, I'd just like to say a little disclaimer before I tell you what these tips are. This set of tips I'm going to give you next to find more content to teach is absolutely not to copy anyone else. It is not to plagiarize anyone else's content. First of all, that is illegal, it's immoral, it's unethical, and it's not okay. Secondly, if you were stupid enough to do that in the first place, you'd also be creating a course that's the same as everyone else's out there, and therefore is going to be competitive and going to be a challenge for you to sell because it's the same. So what I'm going to give you these next tips, how to find more information for, is to simply help jog your archived memory. I want you to use these methods to simply be inspired to remember all of the things that you could share in your own unique, special way. So the first place I like to look to get myself jogging my memory and finding things that I could share with my audience in my own way is to go and find listicles. So if you haven't heard of listicles before, they're basically list articles, right? So if any of you have ever been on Facebook or seen these articles come through where it's like 21 ways to change your life, 5 ways to lose weight in a week, 7 ways to be happier, that's a listicle, right? Where it really just clearly inside the article, it just lists 10 ways to do something or 5 ways to do something. And I find these really useful little knowledge joggers. So simply go onto google.com and type in ways to and then your topic. And what that will do is all the results that come up will be 21 ways to your topic, 5 ways to your topic. Open them up, have a quick scan through, and if you see things that you're like, oh, yes, I forgot that I know that, I could totally explain my own version of that. Now you grab the Post-it notes back out again, carry on writing 1 tip per Post-it note and carry on adding to your collection of tips that are up on your wall or your window, on your whiteboard or whatever you're sticking it onto. So go through as many listicles as you can, and again it's about you being inspired to recall that knowledge that you have, things that you could share in your own unique way. 1 tip per Post-it note. The second place I like to look for more tip ideas is using Amazon books. So go onto Amazon.com and type in go into the books section. First of all, you don't want to be looking at kitchen sinks and stuff. Go into the books category, and in the search box, simply type in how to your topic. And it will bring up all of the how-to non-fiction books in your field of expertise. And the cool thing about Amazon, now this doesn't work very well on mobile devices, but when you're on a laptop or a desktop, you have the opportunity to look inside books before you buy them. And Amazon literally let you open the page digitally and see some sort of an extract of the pages. And one of the extracts of the pages that you can see is the contents page, which is really great to help, again, continue to trigger your knowledge bank and inspire you for things that you know you could share your own version of information on. So look at all of the contents pages for all of the how-to books in your field of expertise. And again, carry on writing a tip per page that you could share with the world in your own way, and stick that up, keep adding it into your collection of stuff. And you'll see that you now start having lots and lots of tips. And I want you to really target yourself to kind of get at least 50 tips down, because this really gives you heaps of stuff to then work with. The third place I encourage people to look when they're trying to come up with more ideas for their course content is to then look in other online courses that are similar to your field. This is a part of market research. It's a part of benchmarking. It's really important for you to see what else is out there in your area of competition, because you want to be creating something better and different. So you want to be able to see kind of what it is that you're up against, so to speak. Although by the time you've created your course, you're not going to be competing, because yours is going to be so much more magnificent and different. So a good place to look is udemy.com, U-D-E-M-Y, Udemy. This is a massive online course marketplace. It's a marketplace a bit like Amazon, but for online courses. Anyone can create and sell their online courses from that marketplace. So once you've created your course, that's one place where you can sell it. Basically, Udemy do all of the marketing and activity work for you. You just enjoy receiving your money in your PayPal account once a month, which is very nice indeed. One of the things you can do is go to udemy.com. There's a search bar on the main homepage. Type in your topic and it will bring up all of the online courses in your particular field. You can click on those courses, and every single course on Udemy actually publicly displays the course information, so what people get from that course. Now, of course, you can buy the courses and take them, but more often than not, from that curriculum, you can see what information people are going to be sharing with the learner. And again, that can be really helpful to trigger knowledge, trigger inspiration for you to kind of go, oh, right, well, I actually have my own way of sharing something in that kind of area, whatever it was that they've described in their course description. So that's another way, again, for you to kind of just go away, collect some more tips and things that you could teach in your own style and add them to your collection. So by this point, you will now have absolutely billions of tips, hopefully all over your wall. And this is, by the way, these tips, it can be little mini videos. You could be doing live streams with those tips. You could be doing blog articles on those tips. You can be doing tutorial videos on those tips. This is now where you have found a bunch of information that you could share in your own way. That is stuff that people are asking questions about, talking about, and is trending. So you know, it's going to help you, this process, whether you create a course with it or whether you just use it for basic content marketing and content sharing. So it's a really, really useful process for anyone who's in business, infopreneur, entrepreneur, or who just has a passion for sharing information with others. So now that you've done that, we move into step 5, which is beginning to put some kind of structure to this, because right now you've basically got like a giant confetti explosion of post-it notes stuck all over your wall. And don't be writing too much on them. Hopefully you've just got like one line on each post-it. So what you're going to do now is you are going to start putting these in some kind of order. So the first thing I do when I'm doing this is I start looking at all the post-it notes up on the wall, and I try and group them together into little families, right? You want to start grouping them into families of things that kind of feel really similar. They kind of feel like they naturally go together. As an example, let's pretend you're teaching a course on health. Okay, it's some kind of health course. So you might notice that you've got a heap of post-it notes that talk all about water and hydration. So you kind of start grouping all the watery hydration ones together. You've got a bunch of post-it notes that seem to all be about exercise. So you start grouping all of those together, and you'll start to see that you kind of get these little families that just for you, they just feel right. They just feel like they fit together. Now, of course, some little families might only have 1 or 2 post-it notes in them. Some other families might have 20 plus post-it notes in them. That's totally okay. Don't worry about that for now. Just put them into the families, and now you'll have up on your wall kind of these random little groupings of post-it notes. Now, what these random little groupings actually are your modules for your online course. So when you look at your modules, here's the next bit you're going to do. You kind of got your water module, you got your exercise module, whatever it might be. And you might look at those little families and go, well, what order do the families go in? So for some of you, it might be really logical. It might just be, right, well, clearly you have to do this before you do this, before you know that, before you do this, before you get that outcome. So for you, unpicking them all off the wall and putting those little families into some kind of order is going to be really logical. For others of you that are teaching something less structured, you might just, it doesn't matter what order they go in. It's just up to how you fancy teaching it. So for instance, if you're teaching a topic on happiness, I don't know, there might not necessarily be an order to it. You're just simply providing a bunch of tips, and people can choose which of those that they take on board and put into their own lives to make their lives happier. So up to you, but what I want you to do now is take those families and put the families in an order from beginning to end. Once you've done that, the next stage is to put the lessons inside the modules into order. So the lessons are the post-it notes. So each post-it note basically represents a little video tutorial that you're going to deliver at some point. So now look at the little families and reorder your post-it notes on the wall to basically be in the order that you would teach them inside the modules. So by the time you've done that on your wall, you should have kind of a beautiful grid up. What I like to do, I'm the other way, I like to kind of go module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4. And then of course within each module it goes lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. And again, remember, there may be some modules where you've got only 1 or 2 post-it notes. There may be some where you've got lots and lots of post-it notes. How long should each module be? There are no right or wrong answers to that. Do they all have to be the same amount of lessons? No, they don't. One module literally might have 2 lessons in it. If your learning outcomes, remember this, if your learning outcomes state what your learners will be able to do, know, and feel by the end of it, and that module takes them there in 2 videos, great. absolutely perfect. You're only teaching what you need to teach to help people get to the do, know and feel of your course. So now you've got all of your modules in order and you've got all of your lessons in order within the modules stuck up on the wall. The next step is to actually go back to those learning outcomes from stage 3 and look at every tip and go to yourself, does this tip, does this little video here actually directly align to achieving any of those learning outcomes? If it doesn't achieve any of the learning outcomes at all, you throw it off the wall, okay? It goes on the save it for later. Do not have content in your course that doesn't directly align people to the learning outcomes that you have decided to set, that's based on your market research and the questions people are asking. It's wasted time and wasted content. What you can do is have an extra resources library, if you like, where you can put information about that in there if you want, but don't make it part of your course unless it's part of your learning outcomes. So you've looked at all your learning outcomes now, you've pulled off any post-it notes that were irrelevant. Because again, a lot of people put too much more than they need in an online course, basically. So this should help you filter some things out. Now, if you feel like there's some really small, tiny modules and you personally would like to put more in, or you feel that on its own that doesn't sufficiently cover a particular learning outcome, then of course you now can see very clearly and visually that all you need to do is go and search a couple more tips in that particular thing, in that particular learning outcome. And that will now really help you see, where have I got too much information? Where do I need a little bit more? Now, looking at that on the wall, have all my learning outcomes been achieved? If the answer to that is yes, brilliant, it's time to move to stage 6 of creating an online course. So just check if there are any more questions at this stage. Not at the moment. Okay, I'll keep going then. So the next thing you're going to decide is, how is it that you are actually now going to teach this? Yes, I do have 2 questions. Okay, let me bring this up. You're rocking it, babe. Thanks, Nikki. It's like having my own personal cheerleader. Love you. This is about how are you going to deliver it. You now know what you're going to teach and you've got your tips. What next? So there are a number of different ways that you can deliver your online course. Now, let me say this, and I'm going to say this as politely and lovingly as possible. Writing some stuff down on a Word document and saving it as a PDF is not an online course. It's information sharing, okay? If you think that creating some text stuff with pretty pictures and saving it as a PDF and uploading it somewhere online is an online course, no, it's not, okay? Consider yourself educated. There's a lot more to an online course than that. It's not engaging, it's very boring, it's not a course, it's literally information. So you want to be looking at, how can I get these tips across to my viewers, my paying students, in a way that's going to really help them, make them enjoy it and get them the biggest results. I'm sorry for those of you who are terrified of doing videos, but video is the most effective way. So there's a number of different ways that you can do this. Number 1 is to quite simply just get your phone out and stick it somewhere. Make sure you're in a nice bright light place. Film it, boom. It's called a talking head video. When you literally got your head talking away, it's a talking head video. Really, really good to have your face on the camera, because humans like humans. I mean, imagine going for coffee for someone and someone put a screen up between the two of you. You would just lose the whole experience. It would just all be gone. So please put your face on the camera. People like to look into the eyeballs of the person who's teaching them. It creates connection, human connection, and it helps the learner learn. For those of you who haven't heard of the cone of learning, people retain 5% of information that they only hear. They retain approximately 25% of what they only see, about 55% of what they see and hear, and about 90% of what they teach. So you really are going to be getting a much higher engagement and retention of information rate if you have your face going blah, 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 with a PowerPoint slide stuck to it, and the information up on the screen and you talking, than you would if they were just reading something, which again would only be 5% that they'd actually take away from it. So talking head video is number 1, your best bet. And there are super simple ways to do this. One thing I like to do is do live stream videos, download them and save them as a MP4, and then re-upload them to an online school if that stuff was interesting. So it doesn't have to be super duper technical. You don't have to have big editing teams or anything like that. If you're doing really helpful, informative Facebook Lives or LinkedIn Lives or Twitter Lives, whatever Lives platform that you use, and you're giving a tip in that video, you can download and save the video and make that a really good online course if it's all ordered in the right way and you've done steps 1 to 5 so far. You can also do what's called screencast videos. So there's lots of free software out there or paid software that you can use. You download it onto your computer. Now I use a paid software called Camtasia. And all of these, there's lots of others out there, you don't have to use that particular one, but a lot of them have what's called a record the screen button. So you can press record the screen, you can press turn on webcam, and you can quite literally record your screen and your face talking at exactly the same time. So whether you've got a PowerPoint slide behind you or whether you're literally demonstrating to someone how to do something on the computer, how to use some software, how to use the internet, whatever is on your computer screen, you can basically record as a video with your little head bobbing along at the side. So screencasting is really, really good as well. Now, if for some reason you don't want to put your face on camera, and you should, so make sure you do, but if for some reason you don't, let's pretend you kind of got more of a corporate brand and it's not actually about you, it's about the organization. They sometimes don't like to put people's faces towards things like that. So you might like to do what's called audio over slides or audio over screen. And that's when you've got a PowerPoint slide using a screen recording software. You can even do this directly from PowerPoint itself now, actually. You can simply record your voice over the PowerPoint slides or over some kind of video or over some kind of screencast. So that's another way of getting your information across. I want your main content, your main delivery to be one of those forms. So looking at all the tips that you've now got on your wall, I want at least 90% of it, if possible, to be video. And like I say, people aren't looking for Hollywood productions. If you can afford to do those, please do, brilliant. However, it's actually not necessary. People are coming to your course to get the answers, to get the knowledge, and to get those changes in feelings and behaviors. So it doesn't have to be like a perfect production, all right? Not anymore, it doesn't anyway. So once you've got about 90% of your course filmed, the rest, the additional supplementary stuff, can come in many different forms. So these are all delivery methods. This is where you can now add your PDF documents. You might have everything that you talked about in the video in a PDF, in a nice little worksheet that you made or something that you've downloaded from the internet that's freely available. Add those documents in now. Add those PDFs, those reading supplementary information to the course. Fit them all in between the lectures in the right places. You might have worksheets that they can download and fill in. They're all really good supplementary documents to now start slipping in. You might want to give them pop quizzes or tests or assignments or activities to go and do to help people turn what you're teaching them, the theory, the knowledge, into something practical. Get them to turn being passive observers into doers by then giving them some kind of task. So that is literally another delivery method, is to get people to do things. You can also start engaging your community when you start thinking about how else you can start delivering and building the learning experience up. Do you have a Facebook group? Perhaps you can encourage them at the end of each module to go into the Facebook group and share a live stream about whatever it is that you're teaching or doing, or their result or their feedback. They could, share some comments, share a screenshot of something they had to make or do, share a picture or a video of something your course was teaching them how to make or do. Create that sense of community, to create a sense of belonging. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs is all about what people need to survive, and belonging is a genuine survival need of human beings. So you can start using the social community aspect to do that. You can do it, like you say, using social media platforms, or you can embed discussion areas into your online course where people can start discussing certain topics that are being raised within your online course as well. What else could you have in there? Quizzes, surveys and polls you can add in, and a lot of these learning management systems have all of that stuff inbuilt into it, and it's really, really easy to add. You can also add other people's videos and content. So there's, in a lot of these platforms, there's what's called a multimedia lesson, and you can quite literally take the URL of any website, YouTube videos and so on, and add those into your course, where that website or web page or video online will play or view from directly within your course itself. So you don't actually have to take people out of your course to go and look at that supplementary information. Obviously, just make sure that when you're using stuff like that, that people are appropriately credited and that you're not using it as the teaching content of your course, you're using it as additional supporting supplementary stuff to basically add extra reinforcement or extra value to what it is that you're teaching in your program. So once you've got all those tips up on the wall, this is basically what you're going to do now, is you're going to decide how you're going to deliver each one of those. So you could either now start transferring your tips onto a course plan. I do actually have a completely free course plan outline, and I'm actually starting to talk about a different slide here now, but I will, oh, I've lost my pages. You will start saying, will I do that one via video? Will I do that via a worksheet? Will I do that with a video and a little bit of text underneath it? Will this be an exercise? Whatever you decide is totally okay. Like, there are principles of curriculum design, but ultimately you decide how your content is going to be best communicated, engaged with, and absorbed by your particular unique target audience. You know your people better than I know your people. And the great thing about online courses is everything can be edited and changed at any time at all. It's totally editable. Online courses are never finished. Your students will keep asking questions, so you can just keep adding the answers. I remember when I launched pretty much every online course I've ever launched, people will come into the Facebook group that goes with that and go, I've seen your video on this, but I don't know how to do this particular part. You didn't show that in the video. I go, no worries, I'll quickly film a video on that. I add that to the course. And after a while, the students help you build the course and help you upgrade it. And eventually people stop asking questions because everything that could possibly be asked about your topic is now in there. And the students have helped you do that. So don't think you kind of got to make this perfect thing straight away. Get something there and let your students be reactive and responsive to what they need, and let your course continue to build out that way in the methodology that they appear to be most engaging with. So I hope that helps you with deciding, the next step is how you're going to teach it, because then you're going to go and film, which I've basically already covered actually in the last step. So again, just remember, equipment from your absolute basic need. If you're on a budget, this is enough. Now your audio is really, really important. So if you are going to use your mobile phone, please make sure you get a set of little headphones. Now you see the set I've got on right now. These are like the same as the free headphones you get when you buy a phone, or you can buy these for like $10 from the supermarket. Make sure they are one of the headphones that has this little microphone on it. And that way, when you're filming your videos from your phone and you've got your headphones plugged in, it's actually taking the audio from the microphone and not from the phone's audio. This gives you much better quality sound. Like I said, you don't need a Hollywood production, but you need your sound to be bearable for your listeners, for your viewers. So as long as you're using a microphone, which can simply be one of these cheap jobbies, there's your filming equipment, guys. You're ready to go. So none of you are allowed to use the excuse of I don't have any filming equipment. However, if you do want to level up, if you have got a bit of spare cash and you are going to be creating more than one course, this is my recommendation. Get yourself a bit of a filming studio going on. Nowadays, this is mega cheap. Go on to Amazon and type in filming starter kit, or go on to eBay and type in filming starter kit. And what you will find come up is these little packages that are amazing. You can get yourself a big studio backdrop. You'll see behind me, I've actually got a green screen going on. And the reason why is because it's a solid block of color. After this recording, I can actually remove the green so that just my perfect cutout of my body is showing, and I'll actually stick my cutout of my body onto the PowerPoint slide, so it will look like it's been perfectly produced. Anyway, this starter pack, you get yourself a green screen, blue screen, black screen, white screen, the frame that it holds it all up. You get massive sets of lights. I'll see if I can show you mine. Hang on. Ta-da-da! It's enormous. Look at that. It's a beaut. You get 2 of these beauties with the bulbs in it. So you have epic professional studio lighting going on. 2 to 3 of those lights on the stands with a frame, with your backdrops. Guess how much? I'm talking between $100 and $200. That's it. Really, you can get yourself an actual pop-up studio for $100 online today. It's brilliant. And they're really not bad quality. They're perfectly adequate for creating very professional looking videos. Of course, you can upgrade yourself to getting either a HD webcam or simply a proper old school camcorder that's got high definition on it. But you know, for videoing, your phone really is sufficient with a microphone. And if you want to get yourself some sexy lighting, look, lights on their own these days you can get for about $20. It's really, really cheap. And if you're creating lots of video, I highly recommend the investment because the stuff I've got has lasted for years. When you sell one online course or 2 online courses, you've made all your money back, really. So if you're serious about this, have a look on eBay and Amazon tonight or after you've watched this video. So I've talked about that. There's your talking head videos. You've got your screencasting. You've done voiceover slides. You can use various editing tools to edit your videos yourself, or you can just get someone who knows what they're doing and hire a video editor. Now, one place I've done that in the past when I've had masses of videos to edit is to go on to upwork.com, Upwork, and go and find yourself a video editor. You can get people on there for really, really affordable prices. There's a lot of people on there, and it can really save you hours and hours of time if you've got lots of videos to do. If you've only got 1 or 2 videos to do, you know, go and learn how to do it yourself because it can be a really, really good skill to have once you've figured it out. The great thing about a lot of these video editing softwares now is that YouTube just has heaps of how-to tutorials and how to use them all. So it can be really, really easy for you to very quickly learn how to edit a video yourself. And I just find that really easy. If I've done a little tip video and I want to make it look sexy to put it into online school, I know how to do that myself in 5 minutes rather than like having to find a freelancer and wait for them to turn it around. But of course, if you've got yourself a big mama course that you've just done, oh, for the love of God, give it to someone else who just go crazy trying to sit there doing the tedious job of editing yourself when you could be creating more content, basically. All right, step number 8 for creating a profitable online course is to know where you're going to sell it. So you've now filmed your online course. Woohoo! So go and pour yourself a beverage of your choice, celebrate spectacularly, and decide where you're going to sell it. So there are 3 main places to sell your website from. This is an exhaustive list, but let me give you 3 main platforms. One platform is called an online course marketplace. Another one is called a learning management system. And another place is from your own website, okay? So let me explain those 3 and kind of the pros and cons very roughly of each one. Online course marketplaces are a bit like supermarkets, right? They are, I mean, if you sell bread, you would want to have your bread in a supermarket because they're going to buy lots of bread from you. Now they're going to buy it at wholesale, very cheap price. So you won't be making a huge profit, but hey, you're getting lots and lots of it sold. So lots and lots of things adds up. They are going to be bringing in lots of customers into their supermarket who might not have intended to buy bread, but because they walk past the bread, they end up buying the bread. You get my point, right? But with a supermarket, they can discount your bread to any price they like. The customers are the supermarkets, not yours. So you don't get their information when they check out at Woolies. And they can decide whatever discounts they want to apply to the bread. So you basically are not in control of your pricing. You don't have access to the customers who are buying from you. And like if the supermarket wants to move your bread into the basement, they can, right? So it's an amazing platform to, if you're just starting out and you want to start getting a bit of exposure and if you want volume. Even if your course is selling for $10, if you've got 1,000 people buying it, I mean, it's great. It all really, really adds up. So that is one of the pros of using marketplaces. I love them. They are easy, and I would encourage you to use them to put your kind of cheap, free, lead magnet-y type courses on these platforms. But I don't host my Big Mama courses on these platforms and my expensive courses on these platforms because, of course, I don't want my decent stuff being discounted and out there to the world for a very small amount of money. So this is where learning management systems come in. Learning management systems are a bit like having your own boutique store. Is you buy the software to put it on, software that somebody else kind of manages and owns, but you get to completely own as your own. You can decorate it how you want, put it in your own branding, make it your own place, have your own payment gateways connected to it. Any students who sign up are your students, your customers. You collect all the data. You can communicate with them directly. So you are in complete control, and you have full power over what you put on your platform, how much you sell it for, and who can join and not join, and so on. There are platforms out there like Teachable, Thinkific, Kajabi. Oh my God, there's tons of them out there. It's a bit like, it's a bit like WordPress. You buy the WordPress platform and then you build your site on it. What's cool about these is if, for instance, there are any major system issues, well, the platform owner is responsible for a bit of maintenance, making sure that everything's all right, everything that works. So kind of that pressure's taken away from you. The third version is hosting everything on your own website. So there are lots of apps and plugins, add-ons that you can add to your own website that are specifically made for hosting and selling online courses. A lot of them can be quite cheap and affordable, so you can just do everything from your own website. Pros and cons to this: obviously pros are it's yours, you own it, you're in complete control, and if this one of the third-party online platforms decided to not be around tomorrow, well, it doesn't affect you at all because you've got all your stuff in one place. The cons are, if anything happens to your website, you lose your whole online school, which is really bad. If you've got lots of students in there, it's going to be a disaster. I remember once, a couple of Christmases ago, I did a massive promotion and my website crashed. The whole thing died. And luckily, because I host my courses on a learning management system off my website, it didn't affect my business, it didn't affect my income, it didn't affect my student learning experience. The other thing I found is when I did go through a trial period of putting my own online courses on my own website, the mass load of videos that I have in my online courses, I mean, I've got over 60 online courses, right? It completely slowed my website down. I mean, it made my website cough and splutter. That is no good for my search engine optimization. It's no good for my user experience. And I just felt like it was way too high risk, with all this hacking stuff now. So what do? Now, I use all of them, and I highly recommend you use all of them in a number of different ways. Use the marketplaces like Udemy and Skillshare to basically get paid for marketing. Put your cheaper mini courses on those platforms, deliver great content, and at the end of those courses go, and if you liked that, you'll love my Big Mama version of this course, which you can find over here, right? And incentivize them to come and find you on your other platform. My other platform, at the moment, I'm a big Thinkific fan. I'd highly recommend you check it out. And with that platform, I host all of my expensive paid stuff. But what I do is I put a courses link on my website, and if you go to sarahcordiner.com and click on courses, you'll see that all of my courses are there. I send all of my marketing to my website. Why? Because I don't want to promote Thinkific's platform. I want to promote my own. Your own website collects data of people that visit your site, so that if you go and do marketing later on, you've got data of people who to target market your advertising to. So always put your website in the middle and make your website the place that you send people to, but then you can host your content on these learning management systems. When I used my own plugins, and I still do use my own plugins, I use a number of features that combine my email marketing software and some builder pages. I use these for sort of some free delivery. So if any of you taken my course plan challenge, if you go to sarahcordiner.com/course plan challenge, you'll see that I actually deliver that free course on my website directly and via emailing you as well. So use all of them. They all have different pros and cons. They all have different functions. And if you use each of them to their own unique advantages, it can really, really work for you. So that's your platform. Once you've chosen that one, you can move to the next step, which is how do you price your course? So pricing now is entirely up to you. Remember, at stage 1 and 2, you've done your market research. So when you were looking at lots of other people's courses, you would have been seeing roughly how much people are charging for courses that are similar to yours. Now, by this point, obviously, you know whether your course is better, has more content, has more practical stuff, gives them more results, and therefore whether or not you can charge more. Now, ideally, like I said before, you've made yours better and different, and therefore can price higher rather than lower. You never want to go into a situation where you're trying to undercut other people. You're just devaluing your own product by doing that. But here's kind of a rough guide. How much do online courses go for? Guys, they go for absolutely free, and they go for still thousands of dollars. But let me give you a guide based on the market right now, and this could change, but at the moment, here's a rough guide for you. Information, implementation, transformation. What do I mean by this? Information is your course just a bunch of information and information only, i.e., could they find that basic information for free by searching on blogs or reading a book? I mean, think of a book. A book very rarely goes over the price of about $30. And therefore, you know, this kind of level of course of information only is probably going to be under $30 in price. It's just a kind of guide to give you. Now, if your course actually teaches somebody how to do something, implementation, they can implement their knowledge, they actually do a how at the end, then your course moves into the implementation phase, which is a bit higher in value. If I've come to an online course to learn how to do an ad, hopefully your course is going to show me the step-by-step process, and by the end of it, I've got an ad. Woohoo, I've implemented your learning. You can price that course higher. Now, an implementation course can go from anything from $50 up to the 900s, depending on what you're teaching. Transformation is when you start moving up into the higher end of the online course pricing brackets. So let's say somebody literally is different from the point that they started their course to the time they finish their course. Their life is different, they feel different. You know, your health course has literally made them lose weight and they are skinnier. Your business development course has made them actually make more money in their business. They were suffering from depression at the beginning of your course and now they are not. So if their life, their business, their feelings, their finances or something has been completely changed as a result of your course, not could change, but actually has, then your course fits into the transformation bracket. And this is where you start charging anything from your $900 mark upwards. Where does the upwards end? You decide. You and your market decide. I would always encourage you to price your product higher at the beginning. And if you feel like you need to bring it down, then bring it down, because you may find that people are just completely willing to pay that price from day one, and you could have missed those higher sales if you start low. So I always find that's probably the better way of doing it. But of course, that isn't the right way. It just means that is a way that has worked. So there's some guidance on pricing. And now finally, you move into stage 10, which is marketing your course. It's all built. It's all up on your platform. I've got a question. I'll just check that one out. What's my take on subscription pricing? Christian, I'm really glad you've asked this. Thank you for reminding me because I had forgotten that bit. So I'm just going to go back one step there. Yes, so subscription models. This has become very quickly in recent years a very, very popular model for people to use. I switched from selling my courses one by one to having a subscription model as well. Subscription is really, really good for your bottom line if you're a business owner. When you're selling courses individually, yes, you might get a higher price for each transaction, but some months you'll make loads of sales, other months not so many, and you kind of have this really unpredictable sales of your bottom line. If you're doing loads of marketing, woohoo, you're going to have a great month next month. If you don't do any, next month's going to be really, really sucky. So this model is great for business sustainability, but it means you have to reduce your per transaction price. So when I was selling my courses individually, some of them were going for $2,000, $3,000 each. Those made sales, and some of them still do in some ways. However, I decided to do a bit of a trial. When you've got more than one course, you can do a subscription model, okay? You only need one or more, two or more, you need to have a subscription. So I decided to take all of my courses, which when I added them all up for their individual sale prices, came to just over $10,000. And I decided to sell that in a subscription model for $47 a month. A lot of my business owner friends and entrepreneur friends went, what are you doing? You absolutely crazy lady. You are absolutely just destroying your business by selling thousands of dollar courses for 47 bucks. And just to be even more insane, I actually give the first month away for free, which literally gives people the opportunity to sign up for free, watch all the content, and then unsubscribe just before their first payment comes around. And some people do that. But here's why. Why would you do it then, Sarah? Well, let me tell you. Lots of people paying $47 a month, and I'm not saying you should charge $47, but this is just what I charge. It adds up to a lot of money. 100 people paying $47 US a month is $4,700 US a month. 200 people paying $47 a month is over $9,000 US a month. Do the math. Now, I'm sure on your Facebook you have more than 200 friends. So actually getting 200 people plus is not as challenging as you might think. And if they're all paying that amount of per month, every month, it really adds up. Creating your course and getting it online is the hardest part. Once it's there, it's all about creating some evergreen methods to get it out. So subscription models, Christian, glad you asked. Absolutely brilliant strategy. And using learning management systems, this is super easy. If you've got a PayPal account or you've got a Stripe account, you press a button when you add your online course to the school. How would you like to charge for this? You can go subscription model, this much per month. You can do that by individual course. You can do it per collection of courses. Okay. Let me just go on to step 10. I've had a private question come up. This question is, so this is all about step 10, which is about launching. So this is up to you. There are lots of different ways to launch an online course. You could create a pilot group of people who you give your course to for a discount. Now, I actually tried this on a couple of courses and it worked really, really well. So I had a course that I planned to sell for $500. And I got a group of people who had been really big supporters of me for a long time, people who had bought stuff from me in the past. And I contacted them and I said, I've got this new course coming out. Look, I'm going to let you have it for 47 bucks. I can't remember what the price was. It was under $50 anyway. And I had about 25 of them sign up. And they paid to join the course, and they gave me feedback at the end of it. So each of them gave me feedback of ways that I could improve or add more content. I found out that there were some glitches or videos where I hadn't fully explained everything and could add some more content on. And the other condition I gave them for joining the cheap version, a $500 course for 50 bucks, was that they were to provide me a testimonial or a review. So they could either have provided a written review saying this is what I got from the course or a video. And every single one of them came back and did that, obviously knowing full well that that was part of the exchange. That was fantastic for when I then went out to market and I had 25 videos and or screenshots to then go and promote the course and be like, look, other people have done this and they loved it. So getting your pre-launch or pilot group is really, really good. You might come up with affiliates or partners. So, you might reach out to people who have audiences that is your target audience. Offer them an affiliate commission for every sale they make. So this is another cool thing about learning management systems is they have inbuilt affiliate software, meaning that if you wanted me to sell your online course to my audience for you, you can give me a cut. Now, I like to give my affiliates quite a decent cut. I give them a full 50% of the sale because it's 50% of something I wouldn't have got without them, right? So just be generous and give affiliates an actual incentive to sell your stuff for you. You can choose whatever percentage you want to give away. It's not set in the system, you decide. So affiliates and partners are a really good way to promote your course and get it out there. I personally find that for my audience, content marketing is the best form of marketing you can do. So for me, it's doing live stream videos on social media. It's then turning those live stream videos, transcribing them into blog posts and articles and sharing blogs with my email list. It's really about getting that content out there in public in some capacity where it's going to stay forever, where I'm always keeping in mind what are people going to type into Google to find the answers to their questions. And I want my content to be the stuff that comes up as the answer, so that they ultimately end up either taking one of my free challenges, one of my free courses, subscribing to my email list, or reading my blogs, or joining my Facebook group, so that after a period of time, they eventually know that I'm not a scammy internet scammer, that I do know my stuff. They already, over a period of time, have got to feel like they know me, and eventually will then go on to either buying a course or buying one of my services or buying my consulting. And that is a really great way for me to work. Now, just to give you an example of how powerful content marketing is, I recently took the last 2 years out of my business to go and be a director at a university. I actually didn't go online at all in a business sense in 2 years whatsoever. And I still continued to get business inquiries. I still continued to receive emails, and as soon as I officially came back to business quite recently, I sold out of spaces for my services within a matter of days, because my content continued to represent me and answer my audience's questions even when I wasn't there. So if you can spend your time creating videos, putting them on YouTube, putting them on your website, creating blog articles that are titled with your audience's questions, believe me, your list will grow, your followers will grow, and your inquiries will continue to come in even if you take a holiday, because your stuff is out there doing the work for you and coming up in Google search results. And for me, that is most definitely the #1 best investment of my time. Now, of course, another way is doing paid advertising, Facebook ads, highly targeted. If you don't know how to do those properly, pay someone to do them for you if you want the best return on your investment. But look, I personally have to say, I've been doing this for years. I make a lot of money from my online courses, and I have very rarely put any money into online advertising. I think in my whole career, it would be less than a few $100s that I've ever spent on ads. For me, all my business and my course sales come from content marketing, doing webinars, doing live streams in other people's Facebook groups, doing guest blogging, speaking on podcasts, other people's podcasts. That is content. That's the best way that works for me. But of course, that's not the only way. Find the way that works best for you, but think of this stage as a long-term game. Of course, you can follow a lot of the big marketers out there and do a big marketing style launch. Definitely encourage that. It's a fantastic way to get a mass load of enrollees in your course and a big punch of money that might pay you back for some of the things you had to buy to make the course. But long term, you want to be doing stuff that's going to be evergreen. Once you've created one blog post, it's out there forever, continuing to find new customers for you. So those are the 10 stages for creating an online course. Now, of course, like any good webinar, I do have a bonus for you. If you go to sarahcordiner.com/webinar bonus, I've got 2 courses. One's called How to Create Profitable Online Courses. Now, if you found this useful, if this webinar has helped you today and give you some good tips, the full course is massive, and it's got videos, video descriptions, screencasts, go into much more detail about how to film, how to create your course plan. It's full of templates. If you like this, you will love that. And then, of course, once you've built your course, well, how do you promote and market and sell it? So I have a second course, How to Promote, Market and Sell Your Course. They're normally $297 each, but on that link, and the link's not going to expire tomorrow. I'm not going to put any of this pressure on you, like, make sure you buy it now. It is a special offer for all the webinar people. So for just $147, you get both of them, like both put together. So you get both of them. Instead of $600, you're only paying $147 if you go to that link. So that's my special gift for you to say thank you very much. But otherwise, thank you all for coming today. That's the end of the webinar. I will hang around if anyone's got any questions. So please feel free. If you want to turn your microphone off and microphone back on and actually talk to me now, you're very welcome to. I now open the floor to you guys. If you want to speak, raise your hand or turn your camera or microphone on, please go ahead. But for everyone else, thank you very much for coming.